For those of us familiar with the unique wiring of ADHD that struggle with consistency, executive function, emotional regulation, it can feel like a constant battle.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you've grappled with an endless to-do list or found yourself intensely focused one moment and then, boom, completely using steam the next.
Yeah, that intensity shift is really common.
Or perhaps, those impulsive comments just slip out before you can catch them.
Right.
If any of that resonates with you, you are definitely in the right place. Today, we're taking a deep dive into what it really means to succeed with adult ADHD.
And we're drawing insights from Succeeding with Adult ADHD by Abigail Levrini. It's really packed with surprising facts and some incredibly practical strategies.
Yeah, strategies that go beyond just understanding ADHD, right?
Exactly. Our mission today is to offer genuinely actionable steps for managing ADHD effectively, helping you move from, insight to real-world application.
Okay.
We're going to unpack core concepts like specific thinking errors, which are particularly interesting in the context of ADHD.
Thinking errors.
Okay.
Okay.
And the fundamental role of self-regulation, how to design powerful goal-setting systems, and, practical tools for mastering time and space.
Things people struggle with every day.
Absolutely. We'll also dive into strategies for strengthening relationships and even thriving in the workplace.
Good.
We'll explore not just why these challenges occur, but more importantly, how to systematically overcome them. So get ready for some, hopefully, aha moments.
Sounds great. I think people will feel informed and hopefully empowered.
That's the goal.
So let's kick things off with that concept you mentioned, thinking errors, sometimes called cognitive distortions.
Yes.
For many of us with ADHD, our internal dialogue, well, it can often trip us up. What exactly are these and why are they particularly relevant here?
Okay, so essentially, thinking errors are those faulty connections we sometimes make between thoughts, ideas, actions, and their potential consequences.
Faulty connections.
Yeah, often without solid evidence to back them up.
Meh.
And what's crucial to understand is that these faulty connections then directly influence our feelings.
Right, which then influences our behavior.
Precisely. Now, psychologists have long understood their impact on mood disorders, like depression and anxiety. But their specific importance for adults with ADHD, that's gained momentum more recently.
Interesting.
David Burns, a prominent psychiatrist, really highlights how recognizing and, crucially, reframing these patterns can vastly improve daily functioning and reduce symptoms.
I can definitely see how that would make a profound difference. Does the book offer specific examples? Something that really illustrates how these errors play out for someone with ADHD?
Oh, absolutely. Two classic examples the source highlights are fortune-telling and mind reading.
Okay, fortune telling. What does that look like?
With fortune-telling, it's that kind of predictive negativity, like
Yeah.
thinking, there's no way I can do this project. I have no idea where to start, and I'll probably fail anyway, so why bother?
Oh, that why bother mindset. Yeah, that's so relatable. You just feel the momentum drain away.
Exactly.
So how does the book suggest someone can genuinely shift out of that, beyond just knowing they should?
Well, the reframe thought offers a path. It acknowledges the challenge, sure, but immediately builds a plan.
Like what?
Like, okay, I haven't even looked at the assignment yet. I can set up an appointment with the professor. I know I do well when I break things up into small steps. It's about asking, what else can I do? What supports can I put in place so I can succeed?
Ah, so it's a deliberate shift from assuming failure to active problem solving.
Precisely. It redirects that mental energy.
That's a powerful distinction. Okay, and what about the other one, mind reading? I imagine that could cause a lot of social anxiety.
It absolutely can. Imagine your neighbor walks in, and maybe your house is a bit of a mess.
Oh, been there.
Right. The thinking error might be, oh no, my neighbor must think I'm such a lazy slob. I'm so embarrassed. No way are they going to want to hang out with me after this.
Yeah, that internal spiral.
But the reframe thought offers a different perspective. Okay, yes, the house is messy, but I don't actually know what they are thinking. They haven't commented on the mess. They're still smiling and talking to me.
Right, you look for counter evidence.
Exactly. I have just as much evidence to think maybe they're glad they're not the only one with a messy house. Or maybe they are just glad to be here.
Yeah.
The point is, you don't know, so don't assume. Just enjoy the company.
It's about disarming those assumptions that can really derail us. That clarifies it nicely.
Good.
Now, shifting gears a bit. Dr. Russell Barkley, who's a major authority on ADHD,
The big name.
he argues that the fundamental deficit in ADHD is actually one of self-regulation and that attention problems are maybe secondary.
Yes, that's his view. It's quite influential.
So what does this reveal about how, say, typical behavior development differs from the ADHD experience?
It's a critical point. See, normally, control over behavior gradually shifts.
Hmm.
It moves from external sources like parents to a set of internal rules and standards as people develop.
Mm.
Think about like Timmy at 3 years old. If he hits his brother, his mom intervenes. She uses external factors, maybe a timeout or the promise of ice cream later. Those external cues govern his self-control at that age.
Got it. But then that shifts significantly as he gets older,
Yes,
right?
precisely. Now imagine Timmy at 14. His brother takes his laptop without asking. Timmy's first impulse might still be anger, maybe even wanting to hit him,
Sure.
but he refrains. His mom isn't there. There are no immediate external factors. Instead, his inner monologue might go something like, okay, wait, if I hit Timmy, I'll hurt him. I love my brother. Plus, mom and dad would be upset, and hitting won't solve anything anyway. I should talk to him instead.
Ah, so that shows internal controls have developed. He's guiding his actions based on future consequences and internal values.
Exactly. Future consequences are key there.
So the ADHD difference, then, is that this ability to manage one's own behavior with those future consequences in mind, that's disrupted.
Yes, that connection is often weaker or less consistent.
And it's not necessarily about big things like physical aggression, but maybe more about those smaller, everyday, impulsive actions that have future costs.
That's often how it manifests in adults, like choosing the candy bar instead of the healthy snack you plan to eat, or maybe yelling in an argument instead of calmly stating your feelings.
Right. I think many listeners can relate to that struggle with consistent, goal-directed behavior, that gap between knowing what you should do and actually doing it consistently.
It's that underlying difficulty in bridging intention and consistent action, especially when the rewards or consequences are further out, less immediate.
Which can lead to those abstract goals, like you mentioned. I'd like to be better organized. The idea is there, but the sustained process feels overwhelming.
Yes, or that common pattern of going full force toward a goal like a really strict diet or intense workout plan, only to completely unravel and undo everything.
Because the internal scaffolding for consistent self-regulation isn't quite as strong, maybe.
That's a good way to think about it. The internal structure needs reinforcement.
Okay, so if self-regulation is about managing behavior with future consequences in mind, how do we build that capability day to day?
Well, that leads us nicely into goal setting.
Right. The book gives us some really actionable blueprints for that, and it emphasizes making goals process-based, not just outcome-based.
Exactly. It ensures consistent monitoring and helps you understand your own behavior along the way. It's not just what you want to achieve, but crucially, how you'll do it and how you'll track that journey.
So what are the steps?
The book lays out 5 steps.
Mm-hmm.
First, set clear long-term goals. What's the big picture?
Okay.
Second, develop a toolbox of helpful strategies. What works for you? Third, create and implement specific weekly objectives.
The small steps.
Exactly. Fourth, add rewards and penalties to boost motivation. We'll talk more about that. And finally, fifth, evaluate what works, and importantly, manage frustration with what doesn't.
That last step feels really important, that continuous learning and adaptation.
It's vital for sustained progress, especially with ADHD where things might fluctuate.
And when it comes to crafting those weekly objectives, the advice is really specific. Think small, work backward, and be specific.
Yes.
They give examples like, call Reese by Sunday, or read the note on the bedroom mirror out wee loud each time I pass by it by Friday.
See how concrete those are.
Yeah, it grounds those big abstract goals into something you can actually do this week with a definite due date.
Yes, breaking it down into those small, measurable steps dramatically increases the likelihood of actually following through. It combats the overwhelm.
And to amplify that motivation, the book talks about rewards and penalties, external reinforcers.
Right. These can be incredibly effective, especially for brains that benefit from more immediate feedback, which is often the case with ADHD.
The book has some fantastic, kind of quirky, real-world examples of these. Can you share a couple? They really stood out to me.
Oh, they're great. Absolutely. There was Patty, who apparently got really angry about a neighbor's tacky lawn ornaments.
Uh-huh.
So she ingeniously created a penalty for herself.
Yeah.
If she didn't meet her own objective for the week, she had to put a tacky lawn ornament in her yard for a whole week.
No way. That's brilliant.
Get this. Her neighbor even agreed to remove one of their ornaments as a reward if Patty succeeded.
That's amazing. Talk about shared motivation.
Isn't it? And then there was Ainsley. She was always like perfectly dressed, very put together.
Okay.
Her penalty for missing an objective was going to work without makeup and in mismatched clothes.
Ooh, that would
Right.
be motivating for someone like that.
Apparently, she never missed a single objective.
I believe it. Patty's idea is so creative, and Ainsley's is just brilliantly uncomfortable. So what does the book say about what makes a penalty effective for someone with ADHD rather than just, frustrating?
Good question. The effectiveness comes from it being personally motivating. It has to matter to you,
Mm-hmm.
and it needs to be immediately impactful.
Ah, the immediacy again.
Yes. For ADHD, the further away the consequence, often the less effective it is. So these immediate, maybe slightly uncomfortable, but often kind of humorous consequences, they tap into that need for quicker feedback loops.
And maybe the public accountability aspect, like with Ainsley.
That can be a huge motivator too, yes.
Okay. But even with the best plans, the best motivators, there can be dumper stuff going on, underlying barriers. The source talks about confronting fears, specifically fear of failure and fear of success.
Yes, these are really important.
Fear of failure. The book says it can render a perfectly capable person completely helpless and inoperative. Why is it so debilitating?
Well, it often boils down to how criticism is perceived.
Yeah.
People who are generally successful tend to view criticism as constructive feedback, right? An opportunity to learn.
Okay.
But for those struggling with fear of failure, and maybe especially with ADHD, where there might be a history of perceived shortcomings or negative feedback,
Yeah.
criticism can feel like personal rejection. And that feeling can completely shut down progress. You avoid the task to avoid the potential criticism.
And then the tasks mount up.
Exactly. And as tasks mount due to avoidance, it can spiral into resignation, feeling depressed, even kind of immobilized.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, fear of success, that might seem counterintuitive to some people, but the book says it can be just as debilitating. What are some of the anxieties around actually achieving something?
It sounds odd, doesn't it? But it's very real. People might fear how success could change them. You know, that old saying, it's lonely at the top. Or they worry about how others' expectations might rise. Like, if I do this amazing project, will my boss expect this level of perfection
Yeah.
every time? That pressure can be terrifying.
Or the fear they can't repeat it.
Exactly. The fear that it was a fluke and they won't be able to sustain that success, leading to immense pressure. It's a silent obstacle for many.
The book shares a really illustrative example, Joel, who kept failing to take his kids to the park on Saturdays. It seems simple, but what did his story reveal about fear of success?
Joel's story is fascinating. After some reflection, he admitted his fear. I'm afraid that if I spend one Saturday with the kids, my wife will enjoy her time off so much, she'll want me to take them every Saturday, and I'll never watch another college football game again.
Wow. So it wasn't laziness, it was this underlying fear of increased expectations changing his life.
Precisely. It shows how these fears can operate on a subconscious level, creating self-sabotage that seems completely illogical from the outside.
It's truly remarkable how often these fears operate below the surface. You'd never guess that's what's holding someone back from just taking their kids to the park.
Right.
So what does the source suggest as a path forward when you're dealing with these kinds of deep-seated fears?
Well, for profound, long-standing fears, the source strongly suggests talking to a trained professional, a therapist or counselor. They have the expertise to help unpack and process these patterns safely.
Okay, professional help for the deep stuff.
Yes. But for milder cases, those cognitive reframing techniques we touched on earlier, challenging and altering those negative thought patterns can be very helpful.
Right, changing the internal narrative.
Okay.
Okay. Given the challenges with self-regulation and goal attainment, it's really no surprise that mastering time often presents similar hurdles for adults with ADHD.
Absolutely. Time management is a huge one.
What are some of the common struggles people face when they're trying to, tame time?
You see a lot of procrastination, obviously, missing important events or deadlines, consistently choosing low priority, maybe more interesting activities over the important ones.
Yeah, the shiny object syndrome.
Exactly. Struggling with prioritization in general, creating those overly ambitious to-do lists that just set you up for failure.
Feeling overwhelmed before you even start.
Right, and perpetually or underestimating how long tasks will actually take, that time blindness aspect.
And the book ties a lot of this back to challenges with working memory, right?
Yes, that's a core issue. Working memory is that system for temporarily storing and managing information for complex tasks like planning, reasoning, learning.
And it's often an issue with ADHD. The book uses that brilliant Winnie the Pooh analogy.
Ah, yes, the heffalump trap.
Exactly. Pooh sets out honey to catch a woozle, but then he forgets why the honey is there.
And gets caught in the jar himself, trying to eat the honey he set out as bait.
It perfectly shows how working memory challenges manifest in ADHD. It's not just forgetting, it's that active struggle to hold information in mind while reasoning or acting on it.
Exactly. It's the friction in connecting the plan to the execution.
So, while small tricks like post-it notes or phone alarms can help temporarily.
They can, but the real key insight for ADHD isn't just using a memory aid. It's remembering to use the memory aid itself consistently.
Right. The system only works if you use it.
Precisely. So the most sustaining way to improve memory and time management is actually building the consistent routine of writing things down in one dedicated place, a planner, an app, whatever works, and crucially, checking it multiple times a day.
Building that habit.
Yes. That consistent routine actively helps strengthen those executive functions over time. It's like exercising a muscle.
Okay. And when it comes to those tools, you've got the classic digital versus paper debate.
Always.
Digital offers portability, endless apps, but also distractions, and small screens can be tough.
True. And paper gives you that writing superiority effect. Physically writing often boosts memory consolidation, but it lacks alerts or easy sharing.
So it's about finding what works for the individual.
Absolutely. And leveraging technology effectively. Think kitchen timers, simple clocks, using Siri or Google Home for verbal reminders. Remind me to call mom at 3 p.m.
Using voice commands is smart.
Or devices like the time timer, that visual countdown clock with the red disc that shrinks. That externalizes the passage of time, making it concrete instead of abstract. Hugely helpful for ADHD brains.
So which planner system does the source actually recommend? Is there a specific type?
Well, it mentions that monthly desk calendars are good for those big looming deadlines because they're visually prominent, hard to ignore.
Okay.
But the source actually recommends that everyone try a quarter-hour planning system, whether it's paper or digital.
Quarter hour, so planning in 15-minute blocks.
Exactly. Often found in those notebook-sized planners. It's exceptional for really micromanaging tasks and visually representing time.
And why is that so powerful for adults with ADHD?
Because it forces you to break down large, overwhelming tasks into much smaller chunks. And it visually shows you exactly where you might be able to realistically fit things into your day.
So it dismantles that I didn't have time excuse because you can see the empty slots.
Precisely. It makes time tangible. The key, though, is to keep the planner itself simple. Overly fancy ones with too many sections can become overwhelming and just another thing to abandon.
Good point. Keep it functional. Okay, so moving from time to space. Managing physical space often presents similar hurdles, right? That chronic disorganization.
Definitely a cornerstone symptom for many. It leads to lost papers, bills, keys, accumulating clutter everywhere, and that feeling of being completely overwhelmed.
Or getting distracted when you try to organize because you find interesting stuff you forgot about.
Oh yeah, the archaeological dig effect.
Okay.
So the first strategy the book suggests is crucial. You need to consciously relinquish your fears about organization.
Fears? Like what?
Fear of not doing it perfectly, fear of starting and not finishing, fear of getting rid of something you might need later. Write those fears down. Then write a challenge thought, what you'd tell a friend with the same fear.
Okay, externalize the fear, then challenge it.
And really embrace the mantra, progress, not perfection. Don't aim for magazine perfect, aim for functional and better than before.
That feels much more attainable. Progress, not perfection. I like that. What are some other key strategies for actually getting started?
Divide and conquer. This is huge. Instead of trying to tackle, say, the entire garage at once.
Which is impossibly overwhelming.
Right. Break it into much smaller segments. The book gives an example of Ryan dividing his basement living area, closet, bookshelves, bar. Then he broke the closet down further. Floor, hanging items, upper shelf.
Okay, breaking it down.
Until each segment feels genuinely manageable. Maybe even just a 2-by-2 foot square of floor space. And this applies to digital files too. Organize one folder at a time.
And start with the easiest part.
Yes. Always start with the easiest segment to build that crucial momentum and sense of accomplishment.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, you mentioned something earlier about visual accountability. I found that fascinating. How did clients like Jenny and Sharon use this?
Yeah, this is a clever one. They found it incredibly motivating to take before and after photos of the spaces they organized. And then they'd share those photos with their counselor or maybe a supportive friend or family member. Sharon apparently said something like, having to email the pictures really helped me make sure I did it and really did it well.
It creates that concrete commitment and proof of progress, a powerful external motivator again.
Exactly.
And another crucial principle, especially for ADHD, is in sight, in mind. What does that mean for arranging our physical space?
It's fundamental. It basically means that for many people with ADHD, anything that isn't visually prominent can easily be forgotten. That out of sight, out of mind tendency is strong.
So the strategy is?
Combat it by strategically keeping important items visible. Put your keys on a hook right by the door every single time. Have a clear inbox tray on your desk for bills that need paying. Use clear storage bins instead of opaque ones.
You're externalizing the memory function, making the environment do some of the remembering for you.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You engineer your environment to support your brain.
Okay, so let's say you've made that initial push. You've organized a space using these strategies. How do you sustain it? What about long-term maintenance?
Right, because organizing isn't a one-time event. The book offers a whole toolkit for maintenance.
Good. Like what?
First, regularly look back at those before and after photos for motivation. Remind yourself how far you've come.
Okay.
Second, the classic. Immediately put everyday items back in their designated spot. A place for everything and everything in its place. Build that habit.
Easier said than done, but crucial.
Crucial. Third, do a quick 10-15-minute cleanup sweep daily. Put on some high-energy music, make it a routine. Just reset the space quickly.
A daily reset. Good idea.
Fourth, schedule specific, maybe more time-consuming tasks, like sorting the mail pile weekly. Make it a non-negotiable appointment in your planner.
Treat it like a real appointment.
Yes. Fifth, implement the one-in, one-out rule for new purchases. Buy a new sweater, donate or discard an old one. Stops clutter creep. Sixth, follow the handle-it-once rule, especially for mail and papers. Deal with it, immediately file it, pay it, recycle it. Don't just make new piles.
Avoid the pileup.
Seventh, use small containers or baskets in various rooms for things that are out of place.
Yeah.
Then at the end of the day, do a quick run, putting those items back where they belong.
Like a little lost and found in each room.
Kind of. And finally, don't forget digital clutter. Use e-organization tools like Evernote or maybe the personal brain to keep your digital life as tidy as your physical one.
That's a comprehensive toolkit. It's clear these strategies extend beyond just managing ourselves and our stuff and into how we interact with the world.
Definitely.
Let's delve into navigating relationships and the workplace. How exactly do those common ADHD symptoms inattention, hyperactivity, impulsivity impact social connections?
Oh, they can really strain relationships in multiple ways. You might find yourself blurting things out without thinking, interrupting conversations,
Yeah.
not fully listening because your mind has wandered off, forgetting important things others have told you.
Which can feel like you don't care.
Exactly. Even things like messy living spaces can be perceived by partners as disrespectful. Then there's chronic lateness, maybe over-talking and dominating conversations, making regrettable comments in the heat of an argument, or making impulsive decisions without really considering the impact on others.
And this can create that vicious cycle of misperception you mentioned earlier.
Totally. Partners or friends might misattribute these behaviors. They might think it's intentional, that you don't care, you're not considerate, you're not trying hard enough.
Which leads to criticism, blame, resentment.
Right. And then the person with ADHD might feel attacked or misunderstood, and it becomes easier to just give up on the relationship or withdraw.
So what are some practical tips for breaking that cycle? How can someone improve those connections?
The source offers a really good list.
Wow.
First, maybe make a list of your own positive traits. Remind yourself of your strengths to bolster your self-worth.
Start with self-compassion.
Yes. Then, practice active listening. Make eye contact, nod, maybe repeat back what someone said just to confirm you understood. Show you're engaged.
Be present.
Be mindful in conversations. Stop what you're doing if possible. Consciously let others have a turn. Ask questions about them. Look for natural pauses before jumping in.
Wait for the pause. Good tip.
For big decisions, try to wait overnight if you can. Make pros and cons lists. Maybe check in with someone you trust before acting impulsively.
Put the brakes on impulsivity.
Right. Consistently complete tasks by cleaning up after yourself that shows respect for shared spaces. Use a calendar religiously for appointments, and really break down travel time estimates. Add buffer time.
Always add buffer time.
Communicate clearly with loved ones about your challenges and the strategies you're using. Do nice things for important people in your life, and actively remind yourself of their positive qualities too.
Focus on the good.
And finally, develop your own interests and passions. Having your own fulfilling activities makes you a more well-rounded and engaging person within the relationship.
That's all incredibly practical advice for navigating those tricky interpersonal dynamics. Okay, let's shift to the workplace.
Okay.
The source introduces Audra. Her story really highlights the immense pressure and anxiety that unmanaged ADHD symptoms can cause at work.
Yeah, Audra's case is quite powerful.
She struggled with chronic disorganization, constant interruptions, lived in fear of being fired. She even had the nickname the Black Hole because work given to her sometimes just disappeared.
It perfectly illustrates that feeling of being overwhelmed, constantly behind, and professionally kind of immobile that can happen when ADHD isn't managed effectively in a work context.
So for workplace success, the source focuses on 3 critical areas. What are they?
1, choosing a job that's actually a good fit for your specific ADHD symptoms and strengths.
Right.
2, learning ways to cope with distractibility and maintain focus during the workday. And 3, understanding your legal rights to specific accommodations at work.
Okay. And it suggests starting with a really thorough self-assessment.
Yes. Taking stock of what you genuinely do well at work. Maybe you're always on time, maybe you're incredibly creative, maybe you're really persistent on projects you care about. Acknowledge those strengths.
Build on the positives.
Then develop your broader work profile. Consider your past history, jobs you liked, disliked, where you succeeded. What are your actual skills and aptitudes? Computers, art, numbers. What are your personality characteristics? Introvert, extrovert, planful, spontaneous. What are your interests? And importantly, what are your core values? Honesty, financial stability, flexibility, making a difference.
Knowing yourself is key to finding the right fit.
Absolutely. This self-awareness then informs your job search or helps you figure out how to optimize your current role.
Okay, and then regarding workplace accommodations, under the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA.
Right. So typically you need to formally disclose your disability to your employer. You usually need to provide documentation like a current evaluation report from a licensed professional showing that your ADHD substantially limits one or more major life activities, like concentrating, organizing, or planning.
And you have to be otherwise qualified for the job itself.
Correct. You need to be able to perform the essential functions of the job with or without reasonable accommodation.
And employers are only required to make reasonable accommodations, right? They can deny them if they create an undue hardship.
Exactly. Reasonable is the key word.
What are some common examples of what's generally considered reasonable versus what might be denied?
Okay, so reasonable might be using a tape recorder in meetings to help with note-taking, but probably not the company providing a dedicated human note-taker just for you.
Okay.
It might mean providing a workspace in a quieter area or allowing noise-blocking earphones, but probably not demanding a private office if everyone else at your level has cubicles.
So it's about leveling the playing field, not getting an unfair advantage.
Precisely. Noise-blocking earphones might be reasonable. Unless, say, you're a receptionist and need to hear the phone, then it might interfere with an essential job function and not be reasonable. It's really about brainstorming solutions that work for both the employee and the employer without fundamentally altering the job or causing significant difficulty or expense for the company.
Mutual agreement and practicality.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, finally, let's explore holistic well-being and the importance of seeking professional support. Because, as the book notes, ADHD rarely travels alone.
That's a really critical point. The reality is more than 45% of adults with ADHD will have 2 or more comorbid mental health disorders. Things like anxiety and depression are very common companions to ADHD.
Wow, almost half having 2 or more.
Yes. And the challenge is that the symptoms can overlap significantly. Things like emotional dysregulation that struggle to manage the intensity or duration of feelings, or restlessness, difficulty concentrating. These can be part of ADHD and anxiety or depression.
Which must make diagnosis tricky.
It really can complicate diagnosis and make effective treatment of just the ADHD much harder. If you have underlying anxiety, it's going to make your ADHD symptoms feel worse, and vice versa.
So it's crucial to look out for these additional symptoms.
Yes, to catch them early and seek professional help from a qualified doctor or psychologist. You really don't want untreated comorbidities undermining your efforts to manage ADHD.
The source provides a kind of self-check for anxiety with questions about panic attacks or generalized anxiety like constant low-level worry about various things. But it stresses these are for self-monitoring and discussion with a doctor, not for self-diagnosis.
Absolutely critical distinction. These are conversation starters with a professional.
So, what are some immediately actionable strategies the book suggests for managing anxiety symptoms?
Well, one simple thing is just writing down your top worries. Sometimes externalizing them like that can reduce their power a bit.
Get them out of your head.
Exactly. Another powerful technique mentioned is progressive muscle relaxation. Systematically tensing and then relaxing different muscle groups from your fingers up to your face or down to your toes while focusing on your breath. It's very grounding.
Okay. And for addressing minor depression or what the book calls blues-busting ideas.
It suggests creating a personalized blues buster list.
Yeah.
Activities you know tend to lift your mood that you can turn to easily when you feel low.
Having a go-to list.
Yes. Also, prioritizing a healthy lifestyle diet, exercise, stress reduction, enough sleep, actively reaching out to others. Social contact is really key. Maybe keep a journal focused on positive affirmations or gratitude. Volunteering could be great. And consciously planning something enjoyable to look forward to, even small things.
All fantastic, practical steps anyone could integrate. Now, let's talk about navigating the various treatment options available. How should we view medication in the context of ADHD treatment?
That's a really important question. The book suggests thinking of medication not as a cure, but more as a catalyst.
A catalyst?
Yeah.
How so?
It uses the analogy of medication being like turning on a 100-watt light bulb for focus. It gives you the ability to see clearly, to concentrate better. But you still need to do the reading. You still need to understand the words on the page.
So it enables focus, but doesn't do the work for you.
Exactly. It enables you to better implement the strategies, the organizational systems, the behavioral changes we've been talking about. But it doesn't magically make you organized or regulate your emotions for you.
And response is very individual, right?
Highly individualized. It depends on your specific body chemistry, your metabolism,
Yeah.
not just age or weight. So it's absolutely critical to work closely with a knowledgeable doctor to find the right medication and the right dose for you. It can take trial and error.
And when people are doing their own research online, which can be a minefield,
Oh, definitely.
the source rightly advises trusting official sources like the FDA medication guides. They've been scrutinized and approved.
Yes, stick to reliable, evidence-based sources. Beyond medication, what about non-medication-based treatments? What does the book cover?
It discusses several powerful approaches. First, ADHD coaching.
Coaching, yeah.
This helps individuals set realistic goals, develop those tailored strategies we talked about, and provides that crucial accountability partner.
That accountability piece is huge.
The book shares a case study about Eric who, through coaching, managed to get a promotion, propose to his girlfriend, and as he put it, finally feel good about life again.
That's wonderful. Coaching can be really transformative for some.
Then there's cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT.
A very common and effective therapy.
Right, based on that ABC model, activating event, your beliefs about it, and the resulting emotional or behavioral consequences.
Yeah, the core idea being that your moods and actions aren't directly driven by the event itself, but by what you tell yourself about the event, your interpretation.
So CBT techniques help you identify and change those unhelpful beliefs.
Exactly. Things like journaling to track thoughts, learning relaxation techniques, using positive affirmations, reflecting on your thought patterns to reframe them.
Okay. What about group therapy?
Group therapy is also mentioned. It has definite pros. You hear how others cope, you realize you're not alone with these struggles, which can be incredibly validating.
Builds community.
Yes, and it provides a safe space to practice new social or communication skills with supportive peers.
Makes sense. Any downsides?
Well, the cons are you get less personal one-on-one attention than in individual therapy. And sometimes certain personalities might dominate the group discussion if it's not well facilitated.
True. And finally, a big one. Exercise.
Yes. Don't underestimate exercise. The book quotes Dr. John Ratey, author of Spark,
Great book.
who suggests that for some people, regular exercise can be just as effective as medication for managing ADHD symptoms.
Wow. As effective as medication for some, why?
Because exercise literally turns on brain regions beneficial for ADHD. It impacts neurotransmitters like dopamine and norepinephrine, improves blood flow, and boosts executive functions like attention and impulse control. It's powerful brain medicine.
That's a huge insight people can act on immediately. So when someone is looking for a professional, a therapist, coach, doctor, The source advises viewing that first session almost like an interview.
Absolutely. You are putting your psychological self, your well-being, in their hands. It's okay to be discerning.
Ensure they're experienced, caring, and that their treatment method feels like a good fit for you and your goals.
Yes. Don't be afraid to ask questions about their approach, experience with adult ADHD.
And critically, the book addresses those last-minute fears that might stop someone from seeking help in the first place.
Yeah, that hesitation is common.
Fear of stigma, maybe personal insecurity about admitting you need help, or even fear of what you might uncover about yourself in therapy.
Those are all valid feelings. But the encouraging thought from the source is really powerful here. It basically says, anything you might uncover in treatment that you previously did not know about yourself can only help.
How so?
Because once those issues, those patterns, those fears are brought to the surface, then they can be dealt with in a healthy, effective way. Staying unaware doesn't make them go away.
That's a really empowering perspective. It's about gaining knowledge and tools to move forward.
Exactly. Seeking help is a proactive step towards empowerment.
Wow. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground today. A truly deep dive. From understanding those tricky thinking errors and the absolute core importance of self-regulation.
All the way through designing effective goals, practical ways to master time and space.
Improving relationships, finding success at work. We really went through the key areas.
And we explored the whole landscape of treatment too. Medication, coaching, therapy, exercise, and how vital it is to address those common comorbidities like anxiety and depression.
It really underscores that managing ADHD is multifaceted.
It is. And the material constantly reminds us that progress is measured in small, consistent steps. Managing life well for anyone takes perseverance. So for every strategy you try, every tiny win you achieve, like using your planner for one whole day or tackling one small corner of clutter, celebrate it. Mentally pat yourself on the back.
Acknowledge the effort.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because these new behaviors, practiced consistently, they do gradually become habits. They become part of who you are.
That's encouraging. And it's true, isn't it? The strategies we discussed today, while they're framed specifically for individuals with ADHD, honestly, they're powerful tools for anyone.
Oh, completely.
Anyone looking to gain better self-control, manage their time and space more effectively, improve their relationships, or conquer fears that hold them back.
The principles are universal. Self-awareness, planning, consistency, challenging negative thoughts. That benefits everyone.
So maybe a final thought for our listeners to mull over. Consider this. What one small shift in your thinking, maybe from those cognitive distortions we discussed, or what one new habit, like that 10-minute daily tidy up, could you try from this deep dive? Something that might unlock surprising improvements in your own life, even if you hadn't really considered it relevant to you before this conversation.
That's a great takeaway question. What's one small step you can take today?